Perfect. All right. Well, thank you everyone for joining this live stream. We really are excited to have the very first mega stream for you guys. And Megastream literally just means there's more than one person, because I don't know that many people. I'm still trying to make friends. So Megastream.
Aren't we all?
Right. It means it's just there's more than just me and one other person, which is great. But without further ado, give everybody a chance to introduce themselves. We can start with Secular Rarity.
Hey, I'm Secular Rarity. Most people will probably know me from just bouncing around randomly on a handful of different channels. Yeah. I do appear on Atheist Republic weekly stream. I'm on Talk Heathen and Atheist Experience tomorrow, actually. That'll be real fun. But yeah, I just kind of hang out and say some stuff about God and you know, ghosts and stuff every so often. Sometimes it's more positive, but mostly in the like negative category. So,
and you also have a shirt on. That's a really cool shirt.
Yeah, I'm repping the merch.
Budgement Day. Yeah. For anyone who doesn't know, Budgement Day is our Growing Up Fundie merch. And whenever you buy anything from the Budgement Day line, the money goes to Tennessee Parrot Rescues, because I love parrots. So thank you for repping the merch, Secular Rarity. I really appreciate it.
I was telling you before when you sent this to me that I introduced you to all these wonderful people, and all I got was his t-shirt, you know. So I mean, here we are, but you know, it's fine.
This is a budget-free zone. All right, next we got Hells Bells.
Hi, I'm Hells Bells. I am an ambassador and volunteer for Recovering from Religion. I co-host with our wonderful friend Cara Griffin the RFRX podcast. I'm also a co-host on Left of the Valley podcast. I volunteer at the ACA and a co-host of the nonprofit. So I do a bunch of atheist activism and stuff. So yeah, that's like the short version.
Yeah, you're literally all over the place. There's like, so you're all over the place. I was looking you up earlier, not to be creepy, but I was looking you up earlier and you're just all over the place. There's like
I'm all over the internet.
Yeah. Well, thanks for joining us. Really
thank you for having me.
Of course. And then Nick.
Hi, my name is Nick Soutter. I am a writer, YouTuber, a lot of different things. I wrote a rebuttal to Ayn Rand's Atlas Shrugged. Midwest Book Review said it should be required reading for all who question authority in the United States. I also authored the Humanist Codex, which is an online curriculum of atheist and anti-theistic arguments and designed to educate theists and atheists alike and try to find ways to bridge those gaps. And also I am the host and executive producer of In Time, which is a online news and education show. And let's see, we've got, I actually have the former head of, head of all U.S. forces in Europe, U.S. military forces in Europe, and former NATO head of all NATO ground forces, Lieutenant General Ben Hodges, is going to be on Tuesday to discuss the situation in Ukraine. And so that's what I do.
Wow.
That is really impressive. I am honored to have you on our stream.
I've met
for everything, Nick.
I've met both of these people, and they will tell you that you don't need to be quite so honored. But at any rate,
honestly, like just your background tells me that you're smarter than me in every capacity. Just the fact
again,
that
Neil will tell you not to
fooled another one.
But
the bar didn't raise as much as you thought the bar raised, right?
Yeah, we see past the gold gilded books. We know you haven't read any of those.
That's the Dumas. That 4-book section right there is A Brief History of Human Civilization. It's 4 novels. I have read all 3 pages of the intro to each of them.
Yay! Yay! That's wonderful.
See, I play. I'm playing Civilization 6 right now on my PlayStation, and this is how I'm learning about history.
You know more about it than I do, then.
Before we continue with the introductions, I just got to give a shout out to my little cousin in the chat. He just graduated high school, Houston Bulls. He's got a scholarship to go to college. We love you, Houston.
Nice.
And tell your brother we said hey too. So, perfect. Thanks. Nice to meet you, Nick. And then Apostacie, we can do your intro next.
Sure. Hi. I'm just so happy that Neil popped on. I couldn't stop smiling. I didn't know you were going to be here. I love seeing Neil.
We live in
I'm-
the same province.
We do. Yeah.
Oh,
we
that's
do.
cool.
Yes, and we got to meet last summer. Okay, so hi, I'm Stacy, and my screen name is Apostacie, and right now I am a co-host on Secular Soapbox on Wednesday nights on the Skeptic Haven Network. My mom and I just started our own channel called the Stacy's Mom Podcast.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. We did. The
Now
line
the
has.
song's in my head.
I know it will be there all night. And just to let you all know, she does have it going on, is what I always say. And I think the biggest thing that I'm excited about, other than doing this wonderful stream with you all, is I got asked to be on the Hang Up in 2 weeks with Matt.
Nice.
So
Yay!
yeah, I'm very excited.
It's fun. It's fun.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I'm very excited for that. So yeah, I kind of pop up on little activities and getting my own thing started, and yeah, so I have a lot of fun, and I've had a great time meeting different people in this wonderful community. So thank you for having me here.
Yeah, I feel like I see you everywhere. I feel like
Really?
anytime I'm watching a stream, you're also in that same stream. I feel like we're always on the same vibe or watching the same
that is
things. Yeah, thanks for coming. It's really
well,
good to
it's so nice to meet you. Yeah,
nice to meet you as
thank
well. And then we got Neil jumping in.
Yay.
Oh, is he
We're doing
coming too?
intros.
Oh,
Actually, I'll just say really quick, Neil was the very first show I ever did. So
yeah, that's true. Yeah.
That's cool.
I heart you, Neil.
And I remember you being all nervous and shit.
I
and I'm
was.
like,
I
"Oh,
was
give it
so-
5 minutes. You'll be like, let me out of here.
No, I planned my outfit for like a week. Yeah, now I'm just like, whatever. I'll just throw on a jean jacket.
Yeah, it's like I just reach over. What
yeah.
t-shirt am I wearing? Okay, here we go.
Is it black?
Yeah, they're all black. Let's not yeah. Like I have 2 shirts that aren't black. One of them's gray and the other one's white, and I think I've worn each of them once. And I was like, now it's a dish rag.
Yeah. Tried it, didn't like it. Going back to the old.
The only
Well,
reason
tell
I
us
wore the
about
gray
yourself,
one is
Neil.
because Batman was on that shirt. But yeah, anyway.
Love
Tell
it,
us about tell you guys about me. Well, I just got the latest UCS X-wing from Lego in the mail yesterday, which is awesome.
Lego or Largo?
Like
Oh boy.
That was really good, honestly, Nick. For a second, I thought it was a serious question.
I was like,
yeah. That was
Hey, listen, with
delivered
Neil, it
that.
is a serious question. He likes to buy things.
you
from
make me
Star
very
Wars,
angry, Earthling.
and, just saying.
It's like, is Largo the Canadian Lego? They have their own Legos over there? That's amazing.
It's actual Lego. I have actual Lego. Here's one right here. It's actual Lego.
Okay.
But listen, I think that
Improvement.
Canada is such a magical place. You could tell me literally anything and I would believe you. I'd be like, no shit, really? That's amazing. Like, wow.
Yeah, we got good health care.
Yeah, I mean
I'm
that
thinking-
in itself,
There you
honestly,
go.
is.
I like the free healthcare. I would be like, yeah, okay,
Done.
like let's
Well,
go.
Not free, but it's
Well,
much
it's
better.
single
we don't pay a lot
payer.
for it.
You know,
We,
taxes.
It comes out of our taxes and it comes out of your work. Yeah, where you work, they help you pay for that and all that, including dental shit like that. So yeah, it's really cool up here.
That's wild.
Like
Yeah,
so.
I would like that.
I saw
No, I'm
someone the
sad.
other day post they finally paid off one of their surgeries, and I was like, I can't even imagine.
Oh
I've never paid for surgery.
No.
oh boy.
Yeah,
Oh, I got some stories for you.
Oh.
Hundreds of
Yeah.
thousands of dollars, puts a whole family
I
into
spent
debt. They
a-
have to
Yeah. I
I
sell their
spent a month in a
house.
hospital, and I can tell you that was a
Amazing.
lot of
Unreal.
money.
Yeah.
Even
Yeah.
with
Yeah, no doubt.
even with insurance and supplemental insurance, I still had to pay a few $1,000s back when I was done.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I went to college free on a scholarship and I lost my kidney at the same time and it cost the same as college would have cost me. Like literally
Oh,
the exact same. Yeah. Yeah.
They get you one way or the other,
I'm
don't
telling
they?
you. I'm telling you. So when the other one starts to go out, I am moving to Canada. I hope you guys don't
Come.
mind. I'm moving to
Yes, you
Canada.
can live with me.
There you go. Perfect. Perfect. If you like birds, I have 8 parrots. I don't know
Sure.
if you would like that very
You
much.
might
we're all
choose
gonna,
That's
we're all,
awesome.
it's just going to be a bunch of commune of a bunch of atheist podcasters living in Canada. We're all just going to go up there. Like, okay, I'm moving in.
I'm sorry to say this. I'm fuck the healthcare. If it looks like Trump is winning again, I'm moving to Canada. I've already talked to Neil about this. I am. He's
Come to the West Coast, my friend. It's the only place to be.
I will be there.
I'm seriously thinking about getting dual citizenship because my mom has never become an American citizen. My brother got dual citizenship, and I'm seriously sitting going,
You should be able to.
yeah, I know. I keep thinking about it. I'm like,
Wouldn't hurt, just in case.
Just in case. I know. I feel like worst case scenario, I'm a Canadian citizen and we go.
Well,
So-
yes.
Yes. introduce
Sorry,
yourself.
I was just, I was sort of started doing that, and then we got sidetracked. I run a little channel here on the YouTubes that, and it runs on Twitch and Twitter as well. But I do a little show called Deconversion Stories, where I host people that have found their way free from ridiculous belief systems and possibly sometimes harmful belief systems, which I consider most of them to be. But anyways, so I've had I think I'm closing in on 500 interviews that I've done on my channel. And I do a little thing afterwards called an after party, where you get to actually meet more people in the community. And that's the reason I do it, is so we can, everyone gets to know each other. Everyone, and then when they have the big events that go on, you get together with everybody, and everyone's like, "Oh, I know you," and then they, create some camaraderie, because let's face it, we're outnumbered by the religious people, and we need to number up. So that's basically why I do that. It builds stronger community.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't always work. Sometimes, as you've seen over the past, at least over the COVID years and slightly before, that the community tends to splinter from time to time based on ridiculous things that I think we could probably come to an agreement on at some point if we actually sat down and talked about things instead of yelling at each other. So, but yeah, I try to have really fun after parties and stuff like that. So,
it's a good
people
time.
get to know.
It is a really good time.
Yeah. And the main show is a good time too.
Yeah.
It's like a party. It's like a miniature party. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You
Like
had
a mini party. It was
Speaking of which, where the hell's Mikey?
Where is my?
Yeah.
Oh,
What wasn't he supposed to come in here too? I told him.
let me make
about
sure he
this.
didn't hit me up on Twitter. Let's see.
Oh, that Mikey. Mind you, he's a new dad as well. So
Yeah, I don't
you know,
see
that's
him.
true.
Let's see.
The
He's
little
welcome
one.
to hop in if he wants to. But I imagine he has family things going on. Perhaps.
or he's
He
sleeping.
Shows up.
That
He
too.
shows up in the live chat. We can call him.
We
out.
can-
He's like,
Sounds
hey,
good.
could have
Like,
party
hey,
without me.
Also, one little quick
everybody,
note.
thank you so much.
Titan. One little quick thing.
Oh, yeah,
Titan
no, I
Uranus
saw-
mentioned that I was the first creator to say his name out loud on the stream. Titan Uranus, right? So,
What's weird about
but I've
saying
changed
Titan
it.
Uranus? I don't understand.
I've changed it. It's now Teton Uranus.
Nah.
Sounds
Lord
exotic.
Teton.
That sounds
Uranus.
exotic.
Ooh. That'd be really weird if I just made everybody explain it. I'm just
He's
like,
my
well, I
head
don't
mod, and I
understand.
think you've said it more often than I have.
Happy
By the
to
way,
have-
who's buying who coffee the next time we meet, Nick? Whose turn is it?
I don't remember whose turn it is. It would be my pleasure to buy you another cup of coffee. I'll probably use your credit card, but I would love to do that.
He will go up to the counter and get it. Just for you.
Just let me go and order a locking wallet here.
So what we're going to do now is we are going to do a yay nay activity where I'm going to make a statement, but it's going to be in the
Yay.
I,
Oh.
so as in you, and then you will yay or nay if you agree with it or disagree, and then we'll dive into why it is that you gave your answer. All sarcasm and jokes welcome. If your reasoning is ridiculous, much preferred.
I've got
and
props.
also in the comments, yeah. And also in the comments, please feel free to yay or nay and tell us why, because I'll pop up some of the funnier or like cooler or more interesting or conversational answers. So I'm just gonna mix up questions here. Let's see here.
Question.
The first statement is,
I don't know.
I believe there is something after human life. So once you're dead, you believe there's something else. Anything else at all? Raise of hands for yay.
Oh no, I say nay. Though there is stuff that goes on after you die. You're just no longer part of it.
That's
right.
I was going to say, I was like, well, yes.
Brought a
listen, I'm
bunch
a
of
narcissist.
pedantic assholes on the stream. We're all-
Listen, no. I'm a solipsist. After I die, all of you go away. So you better hope I have a long life.
Right.
That's all
Right. I still believe this is all just like the Truman Show. I still believe that I am the main character. So once my season is done, there's nothing else. And then raise of hands. Nay. I'm guessing we all nay.
Yeah,
perhaps.
Nay.
Nay. Anybody in the middle undecided? Okay. Nick, why nay? What do you think?
I would love there to be something after, and I think that's probably one of the reasons I was religious. I think that's one of the reasons most people are religious. Hitchens likes to quote Freud on that one and say that, there will be religion so long as man is afraid of death. The only reason we've succeeded as a species is because we're afraid of death. So you end up with a little bit of a paradox there. I've seen no evidence for it, and I found that believing things just because they make me happy is a great way to increase suffering in the universe. So I've seen no evidence for it. I see no mechanism for it. Naturalism explains consciousness, explains everything that we have now. So, hey, I would much rather be wrong about this, but I don't think I am. I see no evidence for it.
Yeah, same. I hope I'm wrong. I would love to find out that I'm wrong. Like there is, it's not that I wish there wasn't. I just don't believe there. I haven't seen the evidence that I need. I wish I'm wrong. Like that's what I hope.
We've all heard the theists say that though, right? Like, why would you want to believe that? I don't. I want to believe things that are true.
Right. Like, listen, bad things can be true. Doesn't mean I'm speaking it into existence.
Exactly.
I'm not. Yeah.
I think, I think it's probably the same as before you're born. You have no concept. So that's sort of where I think it's going to be, same as when you die. So again, I think it would be really cool if there was something amazing after we're dead. I don't want it to necessarily be a heaven or a hell, because neither of those sound great to me. Heaven used to sound amazing. Now I don't think it does anymore, now that I've really thought about it. But it would be neat if there was a really great surprise that we just don't know about. So, but I really don't think there is. So
yeah, absolutely. And I think, has anybody ever been put under anesthesia?
Yes.
That's honestly how I describe it to people. I'm like, black, you're out. Because even when you try to describe nothingness to people, they're like, so you think it's just a blackness, you're looking around? No, not even that. Like, I'm not looking around, I'm not conscious, I'm not existing in a dark room that it lasts forever. Out. Like,
You're out
lights out.
Immediately.
Unplugged. Yeah. And honestly, best sleep I've ever gotten in my
I
life.
know.
So I wouldn't be that upset.
I hate when they have to wake you up.
Right.
No.
Right. The 2 times I never wanted to be woken up, when I was coming out of anesthesia and when I donated blood and passed out. Best sleep I've ever gotten in my life. Lights out. Lights out.
Hold on. Okay, he's trolling. So Titan, you're speaking of Titan. I'm not going to say the name because he wants me to say it. But he's okay. I don't believe in reincarnation, but I did in a past life. Really?
Nice sighted. Nice.
Pretty good.
Nice sighted.
Not bad. I give it to him. Yeah.
That sounds like merch waiting to happen of some sort. But anybody else? Like, we don't have to go in any particular order. I'm just curious.
I wanted for a long time to believe there was something afterwards.
Of course.
Because it's like, once you realize your life is finite, you're just like, well, maybe I'll move on, and you start believing in like reincarnation, or some sort of like, maybe I'll become pure thought or whatever that means. And then after a while, I was just like, this is just making me feel good, but reasonably, there's nothing there. So, and I think that it was terrifying at the time when I started going through that process, and then when I kind of came out of it, I was like, well, maybe there's something, maybe and I keep saying, like, being the I don't know isn't 100% comfortable. I'm always like, I don't know, because I want answers, but I don't have any. So I have to exist and I don't know. And it's sucky. Like, I would like to know, I would, but I don't. And it sucks.
Right. And I would so much rather somebody I'm talking to tell me they have no idea than lie and tell me what they think I want to hear or what sounds good. I'd so much rather somebody be like, I literally have no idea. Good luck finding out. I hope you find out.
I'd like to address Stephanie's in the chat who said it was a yay because we actually create whole religions around it, which sure, of course, religions are created partially on a fear of death, also partially for control. But if there's not something to it, there's still not something to it. You talk to a physicist, for example, like Sean Carroll, and he'll tell you that an afterlife is actually impossible. Because when people say, well, what happens to your energy after you die? Well, it gets redispersed depending on how you're put to rest. Are you cremated? Are you buried? If you're cremated, your atoms are scattered out again, or back out to the universe where they first came from. Stars had to explode in order for you to be here. And if you're buried, then you become food energy for the flora and fauna that you once lived off of. So your energy does get redispersed, but there would have to be some sort of a field for our spirit or soul particles to exist in, and there just isn't. And they've looked for it. Believe me, they've looked for it, but it's just not there. So when you go and when brain death occurs and then cell death occurs, that's it. You're done. Your ride is over. You can tip the guy that was pulling the levers if you want, but yeah, I mean that's it. When you're gone, you're gone.
Right.
But you live on in legacy if you set it up that way, right?
If you have enough YouTube videos, if you have enough live streams.
Yeah, we're all going to be immortal because we're all going to be on the internet.
We've conceived of a lot of things too that I mean, dragons, dinosaurs.
I was just going to say.
And here's the other thing. 95%. Here's a yay or nay. Who here has ever genuinely believed that if they try hard enough, they might be able to move something with their mind? The reality is,
I've tried.
That's 95% of all human beings do, and nobody's ever succeeded. Yet we cannot.
Star Wars
seems
made me
to be
do it.
baked into our psyche that we really think we can if we try hard enough, and yet we've invented that. Nobody's ever done it, but people have been doing it for the entire history of humankind, actually trying. Probably everybody listening to this has tried. So I don't buy the argument that, oh, well, if we conceived of it, there must be truth to it. We conceive of so much that has no truth in it. And that actual argument is not only a fallacy, but it's been used to justify a lot of terrible things from the Inquisition, from the, I worry about that argument.
Well, and not only that, but quite the opposite end of the spectrum too. There's so much that's true that we could have never conceived of had we not seen it with our entire eyeballs. Had science not literally found it. So it's like I feel like the argument goes, a little bit both ways, where it's like, just because we can conceive of it doesn't mean it's the truth, because obviously our conception is limited, because things that are true are so different than anything we would have ever agreed to believe in. And some of us see it with our own eyes and still sit here and go, nope, 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 inconceivable. I don't think that means what you think that means.
I think one issue with the idea of an afterlife that doesn't get brought up enough is the idea of eternity, right? Like the idea of continuing this merry-go-round over and over and over again, even in the sense of like reincarnation and rebirth and stuff. Like, okay, maybe there's something a bit different, but at the end of the day, kind of the core of the argument is that you're going to be there still, right? So basically, you just have to keep doing stuff. You just have to constantly, forever, never get a rest, do stuff. And I don't think people have really thought through what that would entail, because we just don't have the capacity to understand what 1,000 years of existence is like. But oh my gosh, I almost guarantee every person out there, after 1,000 years of doing anything, you hate it. You hate it. You're just done with it.
Yes. I have been doing things for 32 years and I am tired. I am exhausted.
I could mock Neil for 1,000 years. I would have no problem.
Okay, but 1,001, I mean, could you just keep...
That's good. I
But,
like that question though.
Like, I believed in reincarnation for a very long time, as when I was
I love you
pagan.
too, Nick.
Like, and
Yes.
and it was always explained that every life that you go into, you're supposed to be learning some kind of fucking lesson. I'm sorry. like how many lessons can you learn over like lifetime after lifetime after lifetime? Like the human experience is only there's only so much we can do. Nobody's reinventing the wheel or anything. So once you really start to break that down, it's like, well, what would I have to learn in another life that I couldn't learn in this life and grow as a person? Like,
Right.
And there's supposed to be like some end, like reach nirvana or whatever, or, some kind of great consciousness of, unity of souls or something.
Yeah.
Something, dark side, something.
Right. And I'm like, if we're supposed to be learning all these lessons, everything is happening, we're supposed to be learning all these lessons, why do I still have so much trouble doing my taxes? I don't understand. I feel like that's a very simple lesson you could have taught me long ago.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Yeah, taxes.
You guys are like, I don't. So the next question is, one of them we already covered. It said, I wish heaven were real, but I don't believe it is. I feel like we kind of covered that. Parts of the Bible seem true, could be true. Yay for hands up.
Yeah.
Yep.
Nay,
Yep.
hands
Sure.
up.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll say this. I did not think Jonah and the whale was a true story. And then in 2018, a man got swallowed by a whale.
I
and
remember
spat
that.
on the beach.
Yes.
And I believe it. I believe it happened. I believe that's a true story.
Whale, yes. Not a fish. In the
Yeah,
Bible.
not a
A
fish.
giant fish.
I don't
So-
know that the actual physical act of a larger animal eating a smaller animal was the most interesting part of that story. I don't know that was the most like miraculous, but
Right. But I'm
Building
just
a
saying.
fire inside.
Right.
Pinocchio, you set up like a little campfire, you have like, you're hanging out on the whale and it like eats fish and catch the fish so you can eat it. And,
Yeah,
it's like a thing that you do.
Right. And I also wouldn't be surprised at all if they didn't know the whole like whales are mammals, they're not fish. If I lived back then and didn't even know, like, for example, that glasses existed in the future, like I would probably look at that and say, hey, that is a fish that came out of the water. But ever since then, I've sworn, like, I think that's a true story. I don't know. I think so. I also like all the stories that involve people being turned into pillars of salt. I've never seen it happen, but I have wished it upon so many people that I'm going to say that it's real. But
one day.
what about you guys? Thoughts? Yays or nays?
Yeah, this is, I think, one thing that frustrates me a bit about apologists, because anybody that's being honest in this discussion on the non-religious side, on the atheist side, right, will absolutely grant that there are very specific certain passages that undeniably have proof as to various aspects, right, of their historicity. I mean, the idea that a town existed isn't that surprising, right? The idea that there was like a pharaoh around this time that other people lived and like wrote stuff about. That's totally fine. The frustrating part is when they say that alone justifies everything else, because the only reason that we accept those things as being super, super duper true is because we've got all this other stuff outside of it. Like, we actually found a temple. We dug it up. It's there. It has a guy's name on a throne. It's like, yeah, okay. Like, so show me that for a resurrected human ever. That's the big difference, Like, yes, are there cities in the past? Absolutely. Like, were there Jews writing stuff down? 100%. No judgment.
I used to be Jewish. I wrote stuff down.
I like what Angier said. If you've ever sweat buckets and it dry, you experience being a pillar of coated in salt.
And like, if any of us have ever heard a story from somebody who was lying to us, 90% of that story was true, right?
Yeah.
They just like changed a couple details to make the story fit more of the narrative they're trying to go for, right?
Exactly.
So I have no doubt, and it's like the game of telephone, right? If you can't make it with 20 people in the same room at the same time, the message being the exact same by the time you get to the end. I don't believe you can go 2,000 plus years and have the message be the same. I do believe, like you said, some of the historical
Broken
stuff
telephone.
can be proven. Some of the people really did exist. But I also have been, I teach storytelling. I know when I'm being lied to, and I know when people are embellishing because they want their version of events to sound a little more interesting.
I swear, 500 people were there, y'all. Like
Yeah.
all of them, and you can just go
All of
talk to
them.
them.
And none of them were my ex, so you don't have to worry about them. They were not there. I did not talk to them. If you see any pictures, that's Satan. So don't worry. So like
Well,
creative
Barack and I-
nonfiction exists.
Barack and I were having that exact conversation a couple of days ago.
Exactly.
And
exactly.
yeah. But if 1,000 years from now, aliens are digging up New York, it's a excavation. Archaeological excavation. I have problems with words more than two.
Troth mubbles.
And they find a Spider-Man comic, and they sit there and say, "Well, New York. It takes place in New York, and since New York is real, Spider-Man must have been real."
Yeah.
Spider-Man is our savior.
He is.
That argument
really.
works for everybody except Neil.
Listen, Spider-Man did more work than God did, so
There's more evidence for Spider-Man than
there is more
for
evidence
God.
for Spider-Man.
Well, and to me, it's like, why does fan fiction only exist in our time? How was fan fiction not allowed to
Exactly.
exist before then? If you live in Egypt and you're like, fuck yeah, Ramses is my guy, I'm going to write this hieroglyph on this wall about this amazing thing that he did. He didn't do, but now it's a hieroglyph on a wall. And historians are like, did you know Ramses had the biggest penis in all of Egypt? Like it's on the wall. Like that's literally what, you know what I mean? Like how do we know that weird fan fiction didn't exist in hieroglyphs and didn't exist in caves? And we've got it all over the internet now, right? Was that inappropriate? That was probably inappropriate, but I'm just like,
No, it was great.
Oh yeah,
no,
I'm
and
so offended.
It's actually historically accurate. We do have a lot of graffiti from Roman times
Yeah.
that is people talking about their dicks. It's
And they-
hilarious.
And
Like
they draw
they,
the same way. They
Yeah.
literally draw the same way.
they were just they were the exact same. They were just as immature, just as like there's literally in one of the bars well preserved in the Pompeii area. There is actually graffiti underneath the bar that basically translates to "I screwed the barmaid," which is just like that's awesome. Like that's great that guy wrote that. Like
Humans
I'm not saying
will be humans.
Yeah, you're right.
Listen, yeah, as long as if humans between the age of 18 and 25 have been on planet Earth, we will not know history accurately. We just won't. We'll have skewed facts. And I think the same thing about the Bible. I think some of the Bible was written by people that were incels. We just didn't have a name for them at the time. They're like, well, if women won't sleep with me, then I'm just going to say that God said that they can't sleep with anyone. Also,
Paul was the original incel. He was just walking around.
Yeah. It's like also stone them in the streets if they sleep with anybody before their wedding day. There we go. That'll deal with the problem. Yeah, like I don't understand why we now are known to be flawed humans who we just simply can't understand the realm and the scope of what is meant in that. But you're going to tell me that 2,000 years ago, before like technology existed, before science existed, before like generalized healthcare existed, they knew everything. They were these wise people who knew all there is to know. They talked to God on a regular basis. He told them everything, and then one day he just stopped. He was like, well, they have Google now, they don't need me anymore.
Yeah.
Just like,
They stopped
like, is
long
that?
before Google.
Turns out ChatGPT is the return of Christ to us.
Jeff Andrews calls it the Goat Herder's Guide to the Universe. I think that's I like
right.
that.
I don't know about that. I just don't know that I believe that. I could be wrong. I've been wrong before. And you're like, you have, and I'm like, I know, it's shocking. But you know what I mean? I, for one, am shocked. But anybody else thoughts on that? Comments?
The funny thought I had when we were talking about dicks and stuff being graffitied everywhere, but even back in the day, is I would have not wanted to be an Egyptian and fallen asleep at one of their parties where they come over with a little jiffy marker, write little hieroglyphic dicks on you.
Listen, they did
pass out of the party.
Group masturbation into the Nile to give fertility to the Nile. So you know, there's a lot of dick whacking in Egypt.
I'm sure.
like we got to masturbate into the Nile for Cybeck.
Yeah,
Literally.
how did that start? Do you think
I
just like
know.
one guy?
Some guy
just
got
did it
caught
one
and
day?
he was
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, some guy got caught.
this is for Nefertiti, actually.
This
And we're
is
like, oh,
this is a
okay.
good thing, actually.
You're
Yeah,
welcome.
I'm supposed to. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It's like, what's Tom doing over there? Oh, he's doing that Nefertiti thing
It
again.
is-
I don't know.
You know,
Yeah.
the one thing I do love about human civilization, like ancient Egypt had all this. They, had sanitation. They had laws. They had their own set of governance, and like a very, very smart people. And then we have on the flip side masturbating into the Nile because they think that's going to bring fertility.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
and over and over again, like human beings do amazing things and then they do really weird things that were just like, this seems reasonable.
we will never get away from that. I think that was one of my favorite little moments in the show The Good Place, where they're walking around and they see the guy who's in charge of like all the new weird sect things that humans do, and it's always something insanely ridiculous.
Yeah,
And
right.
it's like, you know what, honestly though, yeah, I mean, I don't know that that's happened for sure that they just described, but I'd bet it. I'd put money on it.
I'd put money on it. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. What about not all cults are bad? And if you want me to read the definition of cult, I have it here. For this particular question,
Sure.
the definition of cult is a system of religious reverence and devotion directed towards a particular figure or object.
So all religion?
Actually, I'm in a Black Sabbath cult. So.
There you go. I would literally join a parrot cult in a heartbeat. I would do it. Whatever they want.
Yeah, I would say that, and this is more of a me thing probably than anything like objective or anything, but I tend to keep the word cult a little bit more biting, I guess. I really do. Ever since I had heard of Stephen Hassan's BITE model for the behavior, information, thought, and emotional control, I tend to be really strict about what I call a cult. And so like even some of my like friends and I have gotten into these things where they're like, like Baptists are a cult, and I'm like, well, I don't know. I try to use that word as much as like as little as possible. Kind of like murder. It's like this guy was defending himself and then he murdered so and so. It's like, well, that wouldn't be murder, kind of by definition, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I'm a little bit more strict on that. But I don't know that it's necessary.
I think that's a good point about nuance, because like growing up Catholic, nobody in the church was paying attention if you showed up on Sunday. They weren't like, keeping track of you. Like you definitely had like some emotional manipulation and things like that. But for the most part, you can go about your life, and the Catholic Church, for the most part, does not care. Where if you're like a Jehovah's Witness, they are keeping very close eye on what you're doing. So, there's different. That's where, the nuance kind of comes in when we're having these conversations.
Yeah. I think a combination, like a little bit of what you were talking about, secularity, but I don't think that all religions are cults, but I think that all religions have churches underneath them that are cults. So for example, you say Baptists may not be cults. I say I have seen Baptist cults, and I have been a part of Baptist churches that were not cults.
Yeah, the NIFB cult.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I do think all cults are bad and they're harmful, but I think at the point that they become harmful is when they become a cult. So like, just because you're Baptist doesn't mean you're part of a cult, but if you're IFB, if you're super fundamentalist and evangelical, I do think that those are cults. But a lot of times it's difficult for people to see them, because when we think of cults, we think of long dresses, long hair, bonnets, 10 husbands, yada yada yada, in a commune out in the woods. We like, people don't think that even if they live in Dallas, Texas, and they go to church in shorts on Sunday, and they like are on Instagram and all that, like that's a cult. But I think if you feel pressure and anxiety and shame related to anything that you're taught in that building, that is a cult. Like especially like mega churches. So I would say not all religions are cults, but all religions have cults within them, just like all political parties have crazy, left and right versions of people they don't want to associate with, just like some fraternities I think can be cults. They come from a good place. Originally they're like, oh, we want to give you a place to land. But I do think fraternities, jobs, any kind of club that is exclusive can become a cult very quickly.
MLMs.
I was just gonna say multi-level marketing.
Totally. Yeah, absolutely. And I think that all of those cults, whether they're religious or not, can make you feel the same levels of pressure and anxiety and shame and fear of disappointing anyone within the cult, even if it's not church related, for sure.
Yeah.
Anyone else thoughts?
Got a good one in the comments now.
Yeah, I saw that too. I was like, okay.
Yeah. Let's keep scrolling.
His kingdom. Never mind. I was going to make a joke, but I won't do it.
Yeah, what's that? I get enough light from the sun. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Listen, and that gives you, if you get too much, you get cancer.
Yeah. Your favorite deity created a star that gives us cancer.
Isn't that awesome? Do you think you could get cancer from like those sun lamps? Those ones that they're like the little
happy lamps.
Yeah.
They omit the harmful rays.
Oh, okay. That's cool.
That's good.
Man.
I didn't know that.
I think I agree with you, Sydney, with everything you said.
Is this a Christian channel?
Yeah.
What do you think? Look at my name.
Are you new here?
My name is Apostacie.
Yeah, let's look at all the names around here and see if we can find.
Helen literally has fire behind her.
I'm in my element. That's why I like it here. I mean, like I have Hell's is in my name.
I just thought of something. I don't think you've ever been on my show yet, have you, Helen?
Yes, I was.
Not as Hell's Bells, though.
No, I came in as with my real name.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, but like
I've done so many. Sometimes they scramble.
It's okay. It's all blends together. It's fine. It was like last year
I'm almost
too.
at
So
500 fucking.
Yeah, I know. It's fine. And
how long does it take to get that?
I remember now, actually. I've been doing it since the late June or July of 2018.
Wow, that's a long time.
I think and I get that because you're in the circle for so long. You talk to so many people. There's people I've talked to, and they're like, "Oh, you had me on this." I'm like, "I did."
Yeah.
We had an amazing long conversation on this. It was really deep and emotional.
And I'm like looking at them going,
yeah.
Was like,
no.
We did. We sure did. And I will always remember.
You had some very interesting insights on religion.
That story about your
the story about the thing we talked about.
Right.
Yes. And you do such a good job of explaining it. I will let you explain what I'm talking about.
Remind me.
I gotta write that one down. That's a good one.
Yep.
I'm gonna use that one.
Was anybody in here raised in a cult that you feel was a cult? Yay? No.
I don't think I wasn't necessarily raised in a cult, but the church that I left when we left Christianity was definitely a cult, because the way that they let us leave was very culty. They publicly excommunicated us and didn't really let us ask questions, and it was drawn out for 7 months, and it was a Christian church, so that one had occult tendencies for sure. Yeah. So I was raised like a charismatic Christian, Pentecostal, speaking in tongues, all that jazz. And then I went to I know, it was so fun. And then the last 2 years I went to a Calvinist church, which was
Calvinists are the only people that scare me. They're the only people that scare me. I lived in Chicago for 15 years, and Calvinists are scarier.
Really?
They are very cliquey. They are because they think they're the elect. Well, they that's what their doctrine tells them, is they're the elect, and even so that one
I know. They don't.
Yeah.
The Calvinists don't know who the chosen ones
That's
are, but
true.
they're already chosen beforehand. So there's nothing you
Exact
can do about it.
predestination.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we had
So-
that meeting a couple thousand years ago, right? So we all
Right,
got together
right.
and decided
Yeah.
who was going to be the chosen ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you weren't there, that's unfortunate for you. But
That's
we
like
made
it's
our
like the
decision.
queer agenda.
right,
Like we're
exactly.
all part of it, but like nobody tells us how what our plan is.
Yeah. But like when we left our Pentecostal church, like we just left to go to a different church, and we never heard from anyone. We never got followed up with, no contact. It was just kind of like, okay, we went to a different church. No one cared. This church, we got like letters and emails and official warnings and three official like public announcements for 7 months, and just
Oh my God.
yeah. So yeah, it was
That
definitely a cult.
sounds-
Yeah.
That sounds
Yeah.
terrible. Like,
Yeah.
very,
Yeah, and
very
that-
terrible.
Yeah.
And it makes sense. Like there is a big difference between not feeling pressure when you're involved, but feeling immense pressure when you try to leave. Because I do think that is a big one too. You know, when people think cults, they think the Hollywood movie version, you know, you're in there and they're like splashing blood on you or like dancing with snakes or whatever. But really, like it's a familial bond.
Oh, totally.
It's great
Snakes are
until
great
it's
dancers.
not. You're like,
Yeah.
you're like, I'm gonna peace out. I'll see you guys later. It's not for me anymore. And then
Yeah.
that's when the cult
Yeah.
Comes after
activity
you.
starts.
Yeah,
And
Really?
it's,
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
you were saying someone at the beginning was saying how you didn't really feel that pressure to go to church on Sundays. When we started going to this church, they have 2 services on Sundays, and we didn't always attend both services. And I was feeling anxiety that we weren't attending, or we missed 2 Sundays before we were even members. And I was messaging people, like telling them, I'm so sorry. We were away last weekend because we were out of town. And this weekend I woke up with a migraine. Can you please let the pastor know? Because I just felt this like, oh my gosh, what are they thinking? And
Yeah.
so I kind like, we shouldn't have joined, but we also felt a lot of pressure from the pastor. He told us either join or go to a different church. And at that time, I thought this was the only doctrinally sound church and option that we had, because I was really wanting to just find a doctrinally sound church. So we were
Good
kind of
luck with
held
that.
over a barrel. And so anyways, it all worked out now, but
Yeah.
Well, and it's also interesting because I've talked to some people who come from a charismatic background and they're like, that was absolutely a cult. But your experience with Calvinism almost makes you feel
Way
like
more.
charismatics weren't such a cult after.
No, they were
meeting-
just kind of like, okay, like,
Yeah.
you're going to a new church. Okay, bye. Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. That's so interesting.
Apparently,
and
God
then
is helium.
Interesting.
Or he is helium.
The Church of the Flying Spaghetti Monster.
Who's he?
Down
Stephanie
a couple
says,
more.
I asked
Oh,
so many
sorry.
questions to a Baptist preacher, and he said I needed to find another church. I've heard a lot of, like, I had a similar experience where I would ask questions, not trying to start anything, genuine questions, and it's like, why are you being so sarcastic? It's like that. I don't know. Instead of answering the question, it's like, how dare you? You know, that sort of thing. And again, not saying anything against Baptists as a whole, but I do think there are good churches and bad churches within every denomination, and those kinds of circumstances make you lean more towards the cult mentality than people who are like, that's a great question, I don't know, right?
Yeah. And I think what Stacy said there is really important, because a lot of people, when they talk about cults, they like to talk about them as if it is entirely this external thing that's putting pressure on somebody, when in reality, what's going on a lot of times is the individual themselves is propelling it, and that is being taken advantage of by bad people, you know, with bad intentions. And so it truly is something that at the end of the day, you know, anybody just going to the grocery store tomorrow could find themselves, you know, at the precipice of it. And it is worth always being vigilant on that. And when you find yourself in that position, kind of like a couple of people I've seen in the chat have talked about, like, like if you're asking questions and you're not getting those answers, and you're getting that pressure to, like, you know, that kind of reinforcement of that anxiety for you, you know, in that moment, definitely a red flag. Definitely something to pay attention.
Yeah. I was just talking to somebody earlier this morning who we were talking about the difference between a lot of like the Abrahamic religions and other religions from other parts of the country is that here, especially in the United States, there's that pressure to not only invite all your friends, tell people, proselytize, tell them, but also if they don't make it, there's this idea that it's your fault. If
Right.
there's somebody in your immediate circle and they're not coming to church and they're not taking you up on your invite and they're not like following what you're talking about, you're clearly not doing something good enough. And do you want them to go to hell? Like, is that what you want? Maybe you should keep asking. So it's like, and we described it as like an MLM where you're not allowed to stop bugging people. You're literally not like, it's annoying. They know it's annoying. They don't want it. They know they don't want it, but you have to ask them every week anyway, because otherwise if they don't make it, that's your fault because you were the one that basically was assigned to get them there.
And their soul is on the line.
Exactly.
And the blood will be on your hands.
Yeah, like
Exactly.
the
Which is
most
way-
intense. Go ahead.
And this is when, like, we hear these stories from recovering from religion of people that have lifelong trauma because of it, because they were taught, like, if this person like leaves the church or starts questioning or whatever, you didn't do your job, and now they're going to burn in hell, and it's your fault.
Yeah.
It's a disgusting way to treat people, because we all have this need to take care of each other. Or like we have this empathy that we develop as human beings, and cults and certain structures use that against a person to keep them in line, and that is really fucked up.
Yep, absolutely.
Yep.
Neil?
I just want to make something clear for the Blessed Be He person that's in the chat. Or did we block them or something now?
I put him in timeout for 5 minutes.
Blessed or whatever the hell your name is, saying something about helium sustains us. Well, I'm a chemist, just FYI. And here's helium. Here's a little helium card right here that I use when I teach kids about stuff like this. The percentage of helium in human beings is 0.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I don't think.
Just so you know,
I don't.
it's also.
I may have meant hydrogen.
Isn't the world helium supply in trouble too?
Percentage in Earth's crust is about 0.0000. Hang on, 0.0055%, and in the oceans it's even less.
Helium balloons for your kid's birthday party, folks, is actually not a good thing.
No,
Like,
do not
really,
do that.
it's
do that.
super weird that that's the case. But like the fact that you can go to Party City and just buy this big thing of helium is insane, because there are a bunch of scientists who are desperately in need of it.
Right, like I was listening to NPR because I'm better than
We
you,
use it,
and they were
we use the
talking
helium
about
argon.
it. They're
really weird.
of scientists, like they're saying, like we need this particular. I don't remember what they were doing, because this is like a half remembered story. So, but they were talking about like, we only have so much and we cannot make more.
Yep.
Well,
Oh my gosh.
you don't make helium. What you do is you go out and you can collect helium.
Yeah.
And the moon has lots of helium up there.
You heard
Don't
it here,
tell Elon
folks.
Musk.
3.
Mining the moon.
Don't
Going
tell
down.
Elon.
Don't tell
Don't
Elon.
tell
You're gonna go up
Jeff
there.
Bezos.
I am sending him an engraved letter that there's helium on the moon. Maybe he's going to go over
Helium
there.
3.
And this time he
It's a
won't
little
come back.
different.
We choose to mine the moon not because it is easy, but because it will destroy.
Because we need
Because
helium.
Elon- Yeah.
Yeah, so Blessed Be Helium needs to understand that he's spreading a message that's harmful to the environment. Blessed Be Helium, we don't need you out here telling people to get more, because it's scarce.
I would take a religion that is like based on the
Helium?
periodic table of elements. Just like as a whole, and it's just like every Sunday they would get together and they'd be like, beryllium, what is it? Why is it important? Let's talk about it.
Yeah, he's gonna come back in the chat as like, blessed be Ozempic, and I'm just gonna be done. I'm gonna kick him out. I'm gonna be like, stop telling people to collect things we don't have enough of. Just knock it off.
Yeah. And Nick, you were saying maybe he meant hydrogen, which is possible, but there's really there's only about 10% hydrogen in your body.
Yeah, well, yeah, but
It's one-
hydrogen.
one of
it's one of the most common elements.
It's the most common.
Or the most common element. Yeah, it's the most common element. You'll find it in sun and stars. So you could argue, at least you
Everywhere.
could argue that it sustains us and is, that's
It does.
what.
Absolutely.
Um,
Carbon,
so we should
carbon,
praise the
hydrogen.
all God, hydrogen, hydrogen God.
Makes sense.
Blessed
to me.
hydrogen.
I don't see what the problem is.
There's a Reddit page called Hydro Homies. Highly recommend you check it out. It's
Hydro
all about
Homies.
just how great water is.
Okay, yeah.
Oh, I thought you were talking about like hydro, like
I
Okay.
thought they were like worshiping hydrogen, and I was like, "Oh,
It's a
They're-
great
they're
channel.
really- They're pumped up about making sure that people drink enough water.
They love water. Yep.
I think
And I'm
that's
right
very
there with them.
important.
Yep.
Drink plenty
Absolutely.
of water, get plenty of
I
sleep."
don't know anything about weed. I don't know.
Mhm.
I could get some.
What if any, do you have a favorite VeggieTales song?
Yes.
The hairbrush
So
song
many.
is the
Manatee.
hairbrush song is
People
my
be sleeping on
jam.
Barbara Manatee, but that's my favorite. I still sing that.
Oh,
song.
they are
Never
so
seen an
good.
episode.
I have no
You've
idea. I
never-
have no idea what.
Oh,
Never-
Neil,
I've
I have
seen
to
them
change
on-
your life.
Yeah.
No,
The
thanks.
cheeseburger song for me was
That
something.
is a good song.
Growing
yeah.
up, it really spoke to me on a lot of levels. I've been
It
there
spoke to your
before.
soul.
I've been there before, wanting late night foods from a fast food drive-through,
Oh,
and have
man.
Damn
been
it. I
denied.
want a
It's
fucking Whopper.
Like
Yeah.
I have, like listen, I'm like as an atheist and someone that doesn't want children to get indoctrinated, VeggieTales is a good fucking show. I'm sorry. It's very funny.
It's so funny.
It's a good
It's
show.
very funny. It's a very good show.
Oh,
so
man.
like you just should just watch it as an atheist because you're gonna be entertained. Like it's gonna make you laugh, you're gonna get some jams, it's gonna be great.
Oh man.
Smoke
Right.
some weed before. It'll be amazing.
This is totally true, and I've never admitted this because I have actually been in some like quote unquote more serious conversations about this Bible story. But when it comes to the Bible story of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, I literally only think of the VeggieTales where they are in
Literally.
the chocolate bunny factory.
Oh.
Yes, that is the only thing I think of. I know that there is a real story, but that song, that scene, that's all that comes to my mind.
Thank you for
Yes.
sharing. Yeah, sorry.
Thank
you
I
for
hope that
sharing
doesn't damage any credibility in the future when I have to talk about it again. But
Oh.
it's very, very awesome.
Yeah,
Did you
I
just
literally,
block Blessed be Helium.
I just blocked him. I was like, yeah, he just came back with more.
5 minutes went
Bye-bye.
so
Bye-bye.
fast, and then he
Aw.
came back. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm so glad that was here. I was almost converted. Almost,
Yeah.
but
That
Oh.
close, right?
that
Yeah.
close, right there.
We almost
We
started
almost
talking
became
with
full.
helium voices.
Yeah, I
Right
know.
here on.
Yeah.
Can you
Um,
imagine hymns like that sung
Oh
with
my gosh.
everybody doing helium
Yeah.
first, like Alvin and the Chipmunk style?
That'd be funny.
That'd be cool for like one day, and then I'd be like, all right, it's enough.
We're done. Yeah.
And now I'm annoyed.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, so I have to say we've listened to so many VeggieTales because our kids had like the 10-pack, and we listened to them in the car for every single road trip. And I mean, my husband was like, okay, these are so well written because he's a writer as well. And he's like, these are hilarious. They're funny. They're on point. They're written more for the parents. So yeah, they're well done. But all the silly songs with Larry, 100%. You can't beat those.
Best.
And I mean, the silly songs with Larry have no theology in them
Mm-mm.
whatsoever. So I think
No.
if I just bought those and listened to those, no problem. There's
Silly
no
secular
indoctrination.
songs with Larry.
There
Right.
you go.
Right.
Like,
So it's like you could do this VeggieTales if you wanted to, you know? You
Yes.
could make a good children's show that isn't like super pushing God down your
They
throat, but
did.
whatever.
Netflix did buy them or something.
Oh,
to do-
really?
Yeah,
Mm.
and they don't actually have any Christian. Oh,
Oop.
goodbye, Birdie.
Now he's showing us his butt.
Yeah. They don't have any Christian moral
Wow.
stories to them. At the very end, it just still says, "And remember, kids, God loves you and made you special," or something
Okay.
like
I
that.
mean, that's
That's it.
That's fine.
yeah, that's
yeah,
pretty
yeah,
standard.
yeah.
I hear
But-
that every day in Tennessee. So
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
But
You know, that is like, you know, like even if you know, that's a nice thing. Like, oh, you're, you know, God loves you and you're special. Like, sure, like you can do that in the
Okay.
secular way. Like, you are special.
Right, right.
You know,
Yeah, like,
Mr. Rogers was a Presbyterian minister, and he was my mentor as a child.
Aw.
I like you exactly the way you are. I was like, yes, you, Mr. Rogers, thank you.
Aw.
Yeah, and
He
like
was
if
sweet.
somebody at the grocery store like nicely tells me like God loves you, it's like okay, like thanks, like
Yeah.
thanks, you know, like I don't think there's anything.
Super.
Yeah, I don't think
Yeah.
there's
I'm always
anything
like,
wrong with
live long
that.
and prosper.
Yeah.
Right, but
I'm
it's
not-
like
it's not going to ruin my whole freaking
Yeah.
day, you know?
Yeah, I'm
Like I sneeze and somebody goes, "Oh, God bless you." Like I'm not going to turn to them and just be like,
I
"You
still
don't have
say
evidence."
bless you out of habit. Like
Right.
somebody sneezes and I go, bless you. Like,
I do.
because, yeah.
yeah,
What
but
else
it's
am I
like
gonna
I
say?
still say bless you. I
right,
don't
it's
know
like
what else to say.
Right.
when
Gesundheit.
That
There's a
sounds
guy
so
down the
weird
street.
to me.
there's a guy down the street
Gesundheit
who
means
like
to your health.
Oh, okay. Okay, I'll try it.
he's but there's like a guy down the street who holds a poster that talks about how like everybody's going to hell like any day now. That's
that's
what
so
I have a problem
encouraging.
with.
Yeah.
And he
Any
stands out
day
there
now.
every
Every
day.
day.
He stands out there every day. I'm like, who is funding this man's life? Because he looks put together. He looks like your average. He looks like he could be holding a sign about literally anything. And that's what I have a problem with. I'm like, that's first of all, that's just not true.
Yeah, there was
Yeah,
a
listen,
guy.
if Trump is reelected, I'm going to sit there and say, yeah, he called it.
The end is nigh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I was there were people like when at my former job, for the one I had before this one, there was a person they would do like everybody's going to hell, and then like abortion is murder, and like, you know, you need to repent. And I'm just like every morning at the 8:30 commute, and I'm sitting there going, I'm like, do you have something better to do with your time? And I'm like, you're not convincing anybody. I'm like, you could do real things and maybe, you know, help people get health care so abortions go down. That might be more effective and promote candidates that want those things. But, oh no, you're just going to sit on a street corner. You're doing like the bare minimum, asshole.
Right. Right.
I got 2 words for you in sign language.
Yeah, pretty much. Oh yeah, I was like, fuck you. It's
Let's see here.
exhausting.
And the next question is, life would be better with no religions at all. Yay? I think yay.
I
no,
think
second, no.
that's a question that you can't really give an answer to because we don't have an example of it.
Yeah.
True.
I
That's true.
recognize that.
However,
Theoretically, I suppose.
However, there are that were like they were undiscovered. I think pretty much every tribe's been discovered now by humans, but there were some that didn't really have a religion other than some sort of naturalistic belief sort of stuff.
Right.
And they got along just fine. So I think it's possible.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I would say
probable.
Again, being super pedantic about this, you know,
Always.
I know. We're all, this is the problem with us. Like we get together and we ask like one very simple question. It's like, well, what do you mean by water bottle? You know,
Define that for this.
I think
Is it metal? Is it plastic?
if you take the definition of religion, where it is any group organization that has a combination essentially of a belief in non-material supernatural type stuff and a set of traditions, if that's what you mean by religion, then I would say, yeah, in theory, if somehow all of that stopped, because it's the superstition part that I think is the problem.
Yeah.
If you say that that a religion can just be any group of individuals that have a shared ideology, then it's like, well, at that point, political parties are a religion, and okay,
sports fans.
Right, sports fans. And no, I don't think the world would be better if people didn't have silly arguments about pineapple on pizza and stuff. I think the world is a better place because we arbitrarily pick stupid sides like that and just say like, no, hot dogs are not sandwiches. You know, like
Right.
I would
like a cereal soup.
right.
Look at SR already trying to stir the fucking pot already.
Right, just, you know.
Yeah.
I've heard controversy sells, so
Yeah.
I know.
Well, and I don't think there's anything with, say, for example, belief in God. If somebody believes in God, if somebody believes there's heaven after you die or hell, heaven, I don't think there's a problem with that. Hell, obviously I have my concerns because I'm like, who do you think deserves to go there? But I don't think that the belief in God
Christians.
itself is a problem. I think it's when religion gets involved and starts telling you what rules you
Yeah.
have to follow in order to make it to heaven or in order to please God. That's where the problem is. Like if somebody's like, I believe in God, I don't think that's a problem at all. You do you. I might have some questions for you, but you do you. But it's when they start saying, and if you don't, you're going to hell. And not only that, but I'm going to change laws that make you follow the rules that I invented or that my religion invented, and you should be ashamed of certain things, or if you don't make it, that's where the issue comes in. So I do think things would be much better without religion, but that doesn't mean that in that hypothetical scenario, nobody would be allowed to believe in God or nobody would be allowed to believe in a God. It's this idea, this like organized religion idea. I think anyway.
Well, I mean, like, this is my kind of thing too, is that, like, let's say people didn't have like supernatural beliefs, but the thing is, though, is that human beings will have stupid ideas about things that could exist. Like people will think that they can. I know, because they hear like the Fermi paradox that there might be aliens, and then they're like, well, and then statistically, yes, we're pretty sure that aliens are probably out there somewhere in the universe. And then they'll go on to, well, like I can channel aliens because they're real. So this is the type of things human beings will do because they will take something that could exist in reality. And then they go they take an extra step and make a belief out of it, a weird belief and get rich.
Honestly, because I think that's a great point, and it may just actually be something inherent to living things. For instance, we have shown pigeons are superstitious sometimes. We've done these tests where we do certain things and then give a pigeon a reward, and like it thinks that because it did some certain motion that it's going to get the reward. So it'll literally, we've shown these pigeons just walking around in circles for hours thinking that, if I just do this, I mean, it's exactly the same as when you watch a batter step up to hit a baseball. Like it's exactly the same. They literally, he touches the top and then he touches the bottom and then he hits the left cleat, he hits right cleat, and then he stands and then he moves his hand, and they every single time, because we just internalize that. We did good one time.
We all do
got
it,
some
1 degree.
Yeah,
we do it and like I did a talk on magical thinking because we magically think, even when you think you don't, like you're like, I'm perfectly rational. We all do it. Like, whenever I get a good parking spot, and I still do this, I go, I have good parking karma, because I want to reinforce that in my brain over and over again when I get a good parking spot. Everybody does this, in like putting on lucky socks when you go for a job interview. Like, when I've worn these socks, I've done really well in job interviews. Everybody does this to a certain degree, because we're psychologically tricking ourselves.
Yeah.
I've never had
heard
lucky things. I had a rabbit's foot, but never believed
I have heard that very good things happen to those wearing Budgement Day merch. Secular, can you show us the Budgement Day merch? I've heard wonderful things happen when you wear Budgement Day merch.
Right, like that $50 check I was promised.
Exactly. Yes, it's coming. You got to be patient and pray.
In the mail, Elliot.
It'll be there. Don't worry. Just pray. Put your hand.
It sounds like you don't have a lot of
camera.
faith. You don't have faith.
I do need to take a bio break, so I'll be right back because I have the world's worst bladder. So I'll be right back.
It's all good.
Well, I do think religion is the expression of the problem. So I think getting rid of religion isn't really going to solve the problem as much as people may think. The human brain is not geared for accuracy. We get to set the measuring stick for intelligence. We're like, we're the smartest species on the planet. That's not necessarily saying a whole heck of a lot. And our brains are geared for efficiency. That's coming up with the closest to the correct answer in the shortest period of time. And at that, we're actually
pattern seekers.
Yeah. And so we're good at it. We're good at coming up with good enough answers quickly. But coming up with the right answer, I mean, we have to, that's why we have to have 12 people sitting in judgment of someone on a jury, because that decreases the chances that biases and all these other things, it increases the chances that hopefully they're going to come to the right answer. But even then, we're not always sure. Right. So it's I think it's a tremendous problem. And I think it's easiest to go after religion because that's a great expression of it. If all religion went away, would things improve? Maybe, again, depending on how you define religion. But the reality is we'd still be stuck with our penchant for doing two things. One, coming up with very quick guesses as to how something works and then getting really entrenched and invested in that guess regardless. And then two, trying to push that answer onto other people. And it's especially that second one that becomes the problem. And I don't think that's going to stop even if you get rid of religion.
Yeah,
I think Nick is
And I
so
think
smart,
also-
man. He makes me feel dumb.
Yeah, somebody
Oh,
said that. Somebody said that in the chat too. But I think also human beings. I think our brains are just wired to believe in something being in control and being a higher power. I don't think we were developed to be allowed to just like exist on our own without any kind of controlling thought and force. And so I think even if we were to be like, you know what, gods do not exist in any culture. There is no religion. We would make our favorite sports team, the state we come from. Like we would find a thing to put on a pedestal and make a new version of a god and make it the what do they call graven images, I believe, in the Bible. So I think in this like theoretical world where there is no god, there would still be a god. It would just be something else. It would be a type of food or something like that. A sports
That's
team.
the way it's always been, right?
Yeah.
They started out with like they would worship the sun or a little rock statue or whatever, and it just evolved from there. That's why there's been, I think there's currently around 2,500 religions being worshipped today, and over time there's been literally thousands of them.
Yeah.
So humans have always had a penchant for worshiping something because they couldn't, something that's bigger than them, I guess, because they didn't understand, how the hell did I get here? What the fuck is this? What's going on here? Why does water fall out of the sky? Why is there lightning? And we came up with all these crazy ass ideas and attributing them to some sort of supernatural power when they really are just natural events that we didn't understand. So, and that's been going on since humans have been a thing.
And we like
answers. Other humans too, like other members of our family.
The universe is infinitely complex and our minds are extraordinarily finite. So it is a way of taking an infinite complexity and trying to make enough out of it that we can function and go forward. And that's really that's the goal. Believe it or not, that's the goal. And that's what we've managed to do. And we don't succeed at doing much more than that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And even then some days it's a struggle.
Yep. Yeah. And I think also that's why celebrity worship exists. I think it's because it's more of that, because I know people who claim to be staunch atheists that are still like the Swiftiest of Swifties, and they still basically worship somebody, you know what I mean? And so I think even the people who think that they are as far separated from religion and a god and worship as possible just have transferred that idea to somebody else or something else.
So I'm not a self-described Swiftie, okay, but I will, but hang on, I do have to say this. I do have to say this, which is, of course, me being in the Nashville area, that got a little bit of a hometown connection, but I probably will start worshiping Taylor Swift if she is able to change the Ticketmaster like garbage,
right?
So she's kind of.
You were going to say break up with Matt Healy.
Oh no, no, totally. No. See, I have get into that.
I have no idea who Matt Healy is.
I would take less service fees. I would take less service fees on my tickets purchased online.
So you'd go to see Taylor?
If she can fix the Ticketmaster garbage. They have a monopoly on the industry, and they charge almost double just for
I was gonna go.
Your ticket.
My friends, a bunch of my friends went to go see Pussifer last night, and I was gonna buy tickets. And even for garbage seats, I was like, I can't justify this because on Ticketmaster there was it was so expensive,
and
I'm like,
companies
what the
to work
freak,
with
man?
It's crazy. It's really
there's a reason.
Really bad.
There's a reason.
What is the reason?
Hard copy sales of their music is hugely down. People don't really buy. You've got
Spotify.
So they charge, right, and they make fuck all from that. In a year, an artist might make somewhere between 100 and 400,000 off of their tracks that are being played globally on all the different
that's true.
platforms. Yeah, and their money used to come from sales of CDs or records or tapes or even fucking 8 tracks back in the day. So that's where their money came from. So now they have to make that up because the only way they can make money as an artist is by their
Touring.
concert tickets.
Yeah.
Right?
That's true.
So
Yeah.
and their
And
merchandise, of course.
Right.
I want to give a quick shout out real quick. Pine Creek was on my podcast last year, and he was the one that encouraged me to start going live. I told him I was too chicken to go live. He told me I should. He also recommended this camera. So thank you, Pine Creek. You're the reason I'm going live. You took his advice.
Is this your first time going live?
No, but
Okay,
I
good. I was
recently
like-
started. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, no.
All right.
He was the one
I'm
who-
like, am I here for like the cherry popping? Like,
No. But I like he
We
did
went
the
live
thing.
with us.
Like I was too chicken because like people, when you're a stand-up comedian on the internet, people treat
Yeah.
you much differently than when you have like a podcast with like a point and like a purpose.
Yeah.
So at the time I was too chicken to go live, and he dared me to do it, and I did it, and now I love going live. It's awesome.
yeah.
See,
no, when
folks,
you-
daring other people works, kids.
It does.
Yeah,
Peer
it does.
pressure.
Peer
Yeah.
pressure works.
Speaking of how much religion and pressure is terrible, you should dare people to go live. No, because like I was still used to. I've usually only post comedy on the internet, and when you're like a woman posting comedy on the internet, it's just you're begging for just getting slaughtered, just obliterated. So I was too
Yeah,
chicken
I
to go
can
live because I
imagine.
thought I'd get like eaten alive in the comments.
I'm always like, if you're a
please
woman
don't-
talking on the internet, you're gonna get because people are terrible. You said words about opinions and things, and everybody's like, man, woman, man, shut up.
Fucking misogyny.
Yeah. And so that's what I thought I was going to get. I thought I was going to go live and people are going to be like, close your mouth, fat ass, and all that stuff like they do with stand up. But they don't. Turns out they just hate comedians. They just hate comedy, female comics. So there you go.
They don't like anything
Um,
fun.
They're just trying to make you laugh,
Right.
people. Like, come on.
Literally just out here trying to live my best life. But it's weird because when you're like, I want to make you laugh, they're like, no. And when you're like, let's talk about your religious trauma, they're like, okay. I'll be nice.
It's a weird psychological issue with us as a
Like,
species.
the thing
Yeah.
is though, like I talk about like religious trauma all the time, and then I need some levity, and I'm usually like, well, you've been traumatized, but let me make like I have to make this funny somehow to kind of get through it, because it's just like, oh no,
Yep.
I'm sorry. Like,
Now, is there a person or a team or a thing whose cult you would join if it became one?
ooh,
I'm already in one.
250.
The lemon bar.
250. Damn,
really
Pine
good.
Creek.
You're going
That's
for like
really
$4
good.
grand.
400, yeah. Like,
Yeah.
ooh.
You must have bought him like day one. That's wild.
He was like, he got in like
Anyway.
way ahead, like the secret secret spats.
Or maybe she was too chicken to go on tour, and he was like, "You should go on tour." And she was like, "Okay, Pine Creek, that's what you recommended."
Oh my God. That's
Listen,
the
KJ,
story.
You're a great songwriter and singer. You should go on tour. I dare
I'll
you.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That is awesome.
Wait, what's the question?
Okay.
So,
Whose cult would you join?
is there any like team or celebrity or show or anything that you're like, okay, if they had a cult, I would join?
Mowdy, he's got a cult of the dinner table. He's in the live chat right now.
That's
a good
right.
one.
Cult of the dinner
That's a
table.
good one.
If there's food involved, I'll be in any cult where there's food.
There's any
involved.
kind of
Is
food
there-
except lemon bars.
Is there booze and
No lemon bars.
food and dirty jokes? Because those are the only three things I need.
If there's food, I'll at least attend the service. I may not believe any of it, but I'll attend the service.
I'll at least come to a meeting.
Yeah, I don't know if I would full on join, but I'd probably, if somebody was like, hey, there's like this cult and like it's all about like the Princess Bride, I'd be like,
The holy waffle.
I am a fan. Like I
Yeah.
do like
Well,
it.
like there's a Jedi people that people like
Oh,
they
sure.
they think
Yep.
that they're
Yep.
they
Yeah,
and which is
recognized
not
religion.
a bad thing to like, you
Yeah.
know, I'm sure they act like Star Wars geeks.
The military in the
Of course they
United
do.
States will print Jedi on your dog tags.
Actually,
friend
almost
of-
everywhere will do that now.
It's
They'll do
fact.
that here in
They
Canada, too.
absolutely they accept that. There were
Wow.
people came to them and said, "We're Jedi. That's our religion." And the military said, "All right, fuck it. Like we would just rather have you in the military than kick you out over this dumb thing." So, like,
Wow.
Tons of
I-
Mice is right about
that's
the Mountain
wild.
Dew.
I know. I
Mountain
saw that tons of
Yeah.
mice said my cult is Star
That's-
Wars.
That's what you see. First of all, I'm not the only one giving Neil a hard time about that. Second of all, Tons
Oh
of
no,
Mice
you're
managed-
far from the only
Yeah.
one.
Yeah. Tons of Mice does have that screenshot of me taking a 2-liter bottle of Mountain Dew and just drinking straight from. But to be fair, like caffeine, I mean, give me a break. but Tons of Mice has been sharing that around. So I was delighted when Tons of Mice entered this live chat.
Here we go.
I was going to say, Sydney, I probably
continue.
should have warned you that, like, even though I have introduced you to these cool people, unfortunately, there's some not super great people that follow some of us, and you just gotta good and the bad. Good and the
Listen,
bad.
if you are a cult leader, you're gonna get the weirdos. Like this atheist cult that we're in.
Right. Secretly, I'm just building a cult. That's what this whole channel is.
That's
I'm literally just building my own cult.
I'm like on Discord. I'm the prolific cult leader on the Discord. So
though, the record show, Pine Creek did not tell me to start a cult. He has nothing to do with that. He did not encourage that behavior.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah, I made this decision on my own.
Okay.
How do you know you've reached cult status? Like, is there like a bar like you have to hit?
Is it before or after your followers like all mass? I'm not going to say the final word, but yeah, you see what I mean? Like after that point,
like what level of
definitely
weird
have to
sex stuff do you have to do to like call yourself a cult?
I think it's when people start showing up on your doorstep like crying.
That's true.
Yeah. I think that's
That's
when,
true.
or like
Probably.
when they like throw themselves in front of like a car or something for you. When they start sending you weird stuff they did for you.
When they start selling you like dead birds or something.
Oh, I don't want that.
Like,
Not in my That'd be terrible.
That'd be super.
That's
Like, would that be
happened to me
terrible?
before.
Ooh.
The Budgment Day cult
That'd
does
be weird
not
shit.
accept
No.
dead birds.
Yeah.
We do not.
Yeah, do not do that.
I
Any
take,
dead
like,
animal,
candy.
really don't.
Cake.
You would join a cake cult?
No, I would just take cake if people
Oh,
just wanted
okay.
to start sending me cake.
SR, the cake is a lie.
I would join a Friends cult because I'm a like the TV show, because I'm a huge Friends fan. So
I'd probably join a Neil Gaiman cult. Like he's my favorite author, and he's super cool. So like if someone built a cult around Neil Gaiman that we get to read his stories and discuss them, I would join that cult because he would probably be like, fine. Like,
I would never join a cult that would have me as a member. So I just I need something more exclusive than that.
That's really funny. That's a great gauge. It's a huge red flag if they're willing to welcome me into their
Exactly.
that is a good gauge. Like, you're really? Have you met me?
Switching gears a little bit, I got a question. If you think the 10 Commandments are still decent advice without the Christianity aspect, and if you need me to remind you what they are, I've got them listed here. Okay. Well, some people don't. I didn't remember a couple weeks ago.
No, you're fine. No, I was just like, I didn't want to be reminded.
Oh yeah, no, I won't trigger anyone. So I personally, with the exception of like the Sabbath one, I think they're just decent advice. Like, to me, it's just decent advice. Like, don't kill people, don't steal. It's
other
like,
than thou shalt have no other gods before me.
That one's not very good.
I have a problem with like, don't covet
Mhm.
somebody else's stuff or wife. Like I'm like, because as a queer person, my brain just goes, I would like to tap that, and then that's what my brain do. So like, I don't like that I will be shamed for my brain doing things that my brain do.
Well, is it coveting if they covet you back? So like if you covet your neighbor's wife and your neighbor's wife is like, I'm into it, is that still coveting, or is that just consent?
I think it might be at swinger status at that point. Or it
Yeah.
could be poly.
That's not
Honestly,
one of
it's
them.
I mean,
And
it's
I'm a poly person, so I'm
But
like,
coveting is just desiring, or
right.
It's not actually.
Well, and the first 5 of the 10 Commandments, depending on which version you go with, because there's actually multiple versions of the 10 Commandments.
Yes.
But the first 5, so it's no graven images, no coveting, don't take the Lord's name in vain, all of these things. I mean, none of those are actually have very much to do with morality. Thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not commit adultery, or thou shalt not steal. These. So half the 10 Commandments right off the bat, I think, are absolutely meaningless and exist more to posit the religion than any sort of moral code. The remaining ones, I think you can. Hitchens does a great bit where he breaks them down into basically 3 commandments, and I thought does a really great job of it. It's almost
3 worth having.
Yeah, he also did a genuinely great stand-up. For those who don't know, Hitchens did a stand-up routine for the what was it? The Correspondence Dinner, but it wasn't the Presidential
Really?
Correspondence Dinner.
He
Yeah,
did?
look up. Yes, look up Christopher Hitchens stand-up. He got really pissed because he did his first set against Joseph Lieberman, and Lieberman cheated by having cards, and Hitchens memorized all his stuff, but he did a great job. It's a genuine stand-up. It's hilarious.
Oh,
I've seen it like 100 times. There's right now, if you can't get like the full hour version, I've actually got a copy of that, but go out and get it. But he also did for Vanity Fair a breakdown. You can find that on YouTube too, breaking down the 10 Commandments into basically 3, and he does a spectacular job of it. And I think he's about right. So if you, yes, the 10 Commandments have a little value, and this gets back to something that we've been talking about earlier. I think the Bible has to be seen much more as something that people said, we can get sick if we eat pork. So let's say that God said, don't do that. And God is going to say, so it was to help, and if you look at it as how you should live your life now, none of it makes any sense. If you look at it as, oh, we're trying to get a whole bunch of people in the desert to survive, you're like, oh, okay, now I kind of get this a lot more, especially when looking at Leviticus. It looks a lot better in that context. So
fish that don't have scales, nothing in the sea that doesn't have scales. You can't eat anything out of that.
Yeah, and that actually makes sense when you look at it from their perspective a lot better. And if you're going to get them
calamari.
Me too.
I don't think an octopus is considered a fish, is it? Is that or just
anything in the water?
Anything
in water.
They don't eat
like
clams.
octopuses are really cool though.
They
like
think
they're
bats are
so
birds.
smart.
For fuck's sakes.
Yeah.
I love
it makes sense for them.
Sorry, you mentioned an octopus and I went on a weird tangent. I'm going to shut up now.
But yeah, I think there's definitely something to that. I've always thought that parts of the Bible, like the some of the rules like that, were genuinely beneficial back then. Like we have heard that like there wasn't a correct way to keep people from getting sick from pork the majority of the time, so they just ruled it out. Heard the same thing about bats. I heard that like back then, if you ate bats, you got really sick, so they put that in the Bible. Don't eat bats. I'm curious about the mixed fabric.
Still
want
to eat bats?
Every so often, you'd be surprised. There's
you get a craving for a bat.
No, I'm not saying me personally. I'm saying I know a guy. I have a friend.
He's got a bat guy.
I can see like because we live in a very industrialized society where we have certain foods that are readily available to us. If you are living in like these smaller communities that you have to kind of eat what is presented to you. And then like somebody eats a few people eat bats and they get very sick or they die. They're like, oh, fuck. We got to tell the people not to eat the bats.
And we have to say God said it so that
we can say, and that's the thing. Like like I've had we had this discussion about like fasting on another program I was on. And I always take that as like for people, like early people as population control, and because people hallucinate, they will have what they consider religious experiences when they're fasting. And also too, for people in control, if you're facing a famine or a food shortage, you can tell your people like, hey, if you do this and you starve yourself, you are going to get closer to God. And that I can see that becoming a part of a religious practice. There was a practical reason for it, but people using that to manipulate people and to kind of maybe get through times when food was not readily available. Like I can see it because people are manipulators. We see it happens all the time.
And I wonder if the Bible started out as like a guide kind of for how to stay healthy and how to stay alive. And then one person like kind of noticed that everyone was doing what it said when you claim it's a commandment from God. So then they added a little bit, and then they added a little bit, and then they didn't like prostitutes. So then they added that part, and then they didn't like their neighbor who wore mixed fabric. So then they added that part. And then it just like got out of hand when everybody was allowed to just kind of like add rules that they wanted people to follow. And now it's just, for whatever reason, it's still taken as word. Even though I think if there's an Old Testament and a New Testament, why stop there? Why can't we have like a 2023 Testament that's like updated to meet, like
we
our...
do. It's called Mormonism.
There it is.
That was 1883.
Okay, fair. I'm sure somebody else has. I'm sure somebody found some new
Scientology.
tablets in a tree or
L. Ron.
Scientology is a
We
great
got
it.
L. Ron.
Yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah.
right.
For a while, too.
Like
That's right.
It doesn't
1960,
stop.
right?
Yeah, all that
Yeah.
stuff he wrote was super real.
Mhm.
One of
Genu
the
is
things-
coming.
One of the things that always comes up for me when it comes to
lunch?
these like prescriptions, right, for how to be good or bad, or like how to engage with the world is I know that it's difficult and it's nuanced at the end of the day, right? And I know that not everybody necessarily has 3 hours to sit down and hash out the definition of a single word.
Right.
But I often feel like what happens when we do try to condense these difficult conversations down to these cute little sound bites, because it's not just the invention of Twitter that made us do this, folks. We've done this for years,
Right.
right? It's literally the only thing we remember about presidential candidacies from 50 years ago is the slogans, right? So yeah, I understand that we have this desire to do that. And kind of the general focus of where this is going is like, okay, that's good. But because of the fact that it is so much more nuanced, right? Do not steal. Unfortunately, really is one of those things that's like, oh man, actually, there's kind of there's some circumstances, and like maybe there's a reason, and like maybe there's a whole nother problem that's going on that needs to be addressed. And I guess like humans have figured out so many other incredible things without that prescription. For instance, the one I always love to mention is how there are like a lot of different species of almonds out there that actually contain enough cyanide that a handful will kill you. So apparently, at some point in human history, somebody walked up to a tree, grabbed a few, popped them in their mouth, and just died. And all of those people were like, oh my gosh, don't eat from that tree anymore, but go eat some of those things from that other tree that looks almost exactly the same, So we figured it out with some other stuff. Maybe we don't need the big prescriptions.
Okay. Now that you said that, I'm thinking of the Genesis story in this completely different context now of like the tree of knowledge. Like that's when my brain just went. I'm like,
just almonds. They've been lying to us this whole time. It's not an
like
apple.
that tree. You don't eat from that tree because if you eat from that tree, you'll die.
You will
that's
surely die.
Because you
Right
would
up.
surely. And that's immediately where my brain went. It was like that's what it was. They were like you cannot eat from this tree or you will die.
Interesting.
Yeah, fascinating.
No.
But
we solved it. That's it.
I also want to know more about these poison almonds, though, because now I'm nervous.
No. The
Seeds.
ones that we're coming across, we're totally good. It's if you ever happen to be just stuck somewhere where you're not particularly familiar with all the trees, and it looks like there's a wild almond tree, my suggestion is don't start eating it. But
Just wait until you watch an animal eat it.
It's like mushrooms. Like unless you know mycology, don't just eat random mushrooms.
Oh my gosh, that's the problem with the people. Like, I don't know if y'all, this is a total tangent, but the urban foragers, I don't know if y'all have ever heard about this, but it's just like people who swear that the correct way to be living your life is only eating food that you can like scavenge for yourself. And so they like on the side of a highway. Right.
Are you talking just about raccoons?
No, I swear. These are humans. And they go out and they like the side of the highway and it's just like mustard greens and they just like grab them. And I'm like, oh my gosh, just plant a garden. Like it's so much easier.
I'm kind of sitting here thinking like, why? like listen, I live in the modern world. There's a lot of comforts that I like, and I can go to the grocery store and pick out anything I want to eat. I just need a little information on like how to like eat healthy, and just like I can make reasonable choices. If I do decide to eat, cheesecake, not 100% like there's calcium there, so that's fine. So
Yes.
But like healthy fats, so you can do those things, but like roadkill, like going off the side of the road and hoping I get the right mushroom and maybe a raccoon.
All I'm saying is, Helen, next time you are at your grocery store,
right
after you have put your bags in your car and you're getting ready to go home, just take a look around you and just see if there's any dandelion grass. You know, you're gonna have a much better time than that fresh.
But that's the
herbs.
thing, though. If you go to certain restaurants, they have that as part of like a specialty salad, and it costs like $4 more than a regular iceberg salad. And I'm just like, but I can go get that in my front yard. I'm so confused.
Theirs is organic.
Well, and also it's like, listen, it's like scavenging also can be way more successful depending on where you live. Like if I was still living in Chicago, I could scavenge every meal from behind a deep dish pizza place, like, and eat like a king. You know, I could scavenge every meal from like Einstein bagels and be like 100% like a forager. You know, but if we're talking like, right. Yeah, if we're talking like here in the middle of Nashville, I don't know that I would forage or scavenge anything around here.
Listen, I live in Sarasota, Florida. I am not going to go around scavenging in Sarasota, Florida. Like I know these people. It's not going to happen.
Honestly, where Apostacie and I live, it's foraging and stuff like that is great here.
Oh yeah,
is it?
We can just go pick blackberries. Like
I miss that. And
another reason for us all to move to Canada.
Yep. And
we're going to have our atheist commune.
Yeah, I will say in Arkansas, I made more than one blackberry pie out of blackberries I picked myself. I will say that Arkansas is good.
Right.
Parts of it for foraging.
I like fresh mangoes down here are amazing. Like if you get a mango tree, I really want to plant a lime tree in my yard because limes are my favorite, and I just want one. So if you can get fresh mangoes, it's fantastic. Yeah, it's great.
I picked mangoes.
What?
The sap is very acidic for mangoes, FYI. So. Be very careful. Yep. Yeah, we used to have mango fights. You have to wear gloves and shit and sleeves. But we'd snip them and go like this and try to get the sap on someone else. and there's many of us over there that had little scars from the little brown marks from the sap. Yeah, it's permanent.
Wow, Neil, this is something I didn't know happened, and now I'm curious. Now I hope there's a YouTube thing where I can watch people have mango fights.
I didn't realize that mango sap was like a torture device.
Right.
Like, that's fascinating.
It's not like it lands on you and you're like, oh my god! It's not like that, but like it gets on you and it does burn. Like it'll leave a mark. I've got a couple.
Okay.
So,
I have somebody that you need to throw mango sap on.
I learned something new. I learned you learn something new every day. I learned that mango sap will be very stinging if it hits your skin. I learned something new tonight.
I think we need to throw mango sap on tons of mice because he says nothing about Arkansas is good. First of all, we have Tyson chicken. Okay. If you like Walmart, it's from Bentonville, Arkansas. Only state that produces diamonds. Thank you. Home of Billy Bob Thornton. You're welcome. Okay. So you want to talk about a state that doesn't have anything?
Listen, would you like
losing stock rapidly, but okay.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, if you like Bad Santa, then you better have some appreciation for Arkansas because if it wasn't for us, you wouldn't have those movies.
Like, yeah.
Yep.
I may still be leaning towards Tons of Mice on this one. I'm sorry. I may, that in Texas.
Yeah, you can't rely on the chance that he was born there.
Well, listen, if Tons of Mice was born there, then that only strengthens his argument. But
I think he's saying that because I brought up that I was from Arkansas. I think he's just hating on me.
So
we've got
one more random tangent question. So, depending if you're born in a state, you move to another state, are you more proud about the people that came from the state that you're born in, or the state or where you're born in versus the state you live in currently? Like, is there a distinction?
I can actually answer that. So my parents grew up, like, born and raised in Northwest Arkansas. They moved to Kansas City for like 1 year or 2 years. And I was born there, but then they took me back to Arkansas after that. So like, even though technically my birth certificate says like Kansas City on it, I consider myself from Arkansas. Like that's where I was, raised. Yeah. That's where I remember everything. Okay. So like, I have no, other than the people I know who still live there, I have no emotional connection to Kansas City whatsoever, other than like some good memories of like the summer there or whatever. But I can't tell you anything about it. I don't know anything good to do there, in my opinion. Anybody else? Thoughts?
About Arkansas?
Just about being born somewhere
Like,
and then
no,
like
it was just something I was thinking about when we were having
Mm.
it was one of those random questions that popped into my brain.
Ah.
I was like, I had to ask it.
Well,
Like,
I mean, I was born on Earth, and I'll always be an Earthling. So,
Wow.
thank you, Neil.
Bold
I
statement.
call
That's
BS on that one, but
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, that's pretty
Yeah.
intense.
That was deep, like a puddle.
with the last like 15 minutes, does anybody have any yay or nay questions they would like to ask the group? Any thoughts, comments?
Should have thought of one.
We're real.
Oh, you should have asked us earlier. I would have thought. Okay, now I have to think.
This is my first mega stream, okay? I need you to relax. I'm nervous, okay? I'm just
oh,
nervous.
now look who's in the chat now.
Oh,
Oh,
Mikey.
now Mikey
15
showed
minutes
up.
left.
We were going to add you to the stream, Mikey, and now you
Yeah.
showed up late.
Anybody in the chat can also ask questions for the yay or nay.
Well, I think. Would you rather religion were real? There's a yay or nay question.
I would not. I'm a
Which
nay.
one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh, good point.
Well-
Isn't the
Stacey.
religion.
Which one?
Yeah, you see, I would rather
pick
yay.
one that I would like.
Call us douche canoes. I like it.
I don't think the which one even matters because everybody
Okay.
picks their own religion anyway, right? I mean, let's say you're a Catholic,
You don't
and then
pick
you
your
decide that you
religion,
don't.
dude.
Yes,
You're
you do.
born
You
into
absolutely
it.
do. Well, no,
Okay.
I agree. You're born. Well, and so I guess perhaps it would be more accurate to say you pick your sect, right? But the reality is, if you don't, if the explanation of the Catholic God doesn't make sense to you, you become a Protestant. If the explanation of the Protestant
Right, because you're
version
convinced
that same
of
God,
something else.
that
but-
yeah, well, and because it doesn't fit with your ethics, right? So you actually have your ethics first, and then you pick the sect that most matches that. So you have already chosen.
Oh,
Anybody who's religious,
geez.
actually, on some level, unless you're in a cult or something like that, well, and perhaps even then, you actually choose the religious beliefs and go with an organization that fits with that. If that weren't true, you wouldn't find the Catholic Church leading from behind on issues like gay marriage. Why does all of a sudden they're like, well, gay marriage isn't as big a deal as we used to think? They're not thinking that because God is actually making that. They're thinking that because they have to adapt to what people already feel or believe. So you're going to, on some level, pick your own religion. I agree it's going to be from whatever is available to you at time, but I'm including sects in that. So when I say, would you rather religion be true, it's going to be whatever you choose anyway. That's everybody already chooses their own beliefs.
I like the sex religion.
Yeah, Neil will pick that one.
Yeah,
I remember sex.
I remember sex.
Oh boy.
Those are good
I have to go to the
times.
bathroom.
I was going to say something really mean, but I was just like, even for Neil, I can't.
Oh, come on. Like you've ever bitten your tongue.
Well, listen, okay. Well, I mean, I was going to say something along the lines of that, your exes don't remember it, but I figured.
Right as he was about to drink,
Whoa.
man.
Whoa, wow.
Whoa.
That was spicy.
That's true.
I love Neil, and sometimes I take it too far. That probably wasn't one of those times, but
Listen, my rule is that if I don't tease you, I don't love you. Like if I don't make fun of
That's
you,
our
that
family rule too.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's a great rule. Because
Mhm.
if I don't tease you, that means I don't care about you.
Exactly.
And I think, but if I tease you about
Oh.
anything, I love you.
So wait. So all those internet comments that were calling me like a fat bitch and a dumb whore, like they
absolutely.
love me.
So
Yep.
there's a reason that when we in our media we put this stereotype out there about like little boys and little girls on the playground, and like the little boys oftentimes run up and like pull the girl's pigtail and then run away and pretend that they think girls are gross. It's a tactic. We've actually seen male and female dogs do this. The male dog will intentionally go antagonize a female just so that he can play with her longer, which is kind of funny. Like he goes up and he just kind of like pokes her. But
So
yeah.
so when my ex got that restraining order, like he was literally just flirting with me.
It was right.
I should actually.
It was
Yes,
a longer.
It was a very flattery, like like I love you. I really love
He
you.
wants
he
me
really
within
likes
500 feet of him.
The mating ritual for the human animal has actually evolved a lot more from just like showing feathers, and kind of like
How did I not see
posturing.
that? How did?
Yeah.
How did I
Like,
not
my
know that? Oh my God, I'm going to go show up at his yard right
My
now.
With the
husband
boombox
has
and everything.
like
I
my
get it
husband
now.
has this joke where he's like, I don't dance because I don't do biological displays. He's like, I landed a woman. I don't have to do the biological displays anymore. I do not dance. I was like,
That's
fair.
That's funny. And then we had one question, and then after that, I'll give you guys your evening back. They said, do you think religion or atheism influences your thoughts about death? It's an obvious question, but I'm interested in the panel's answers.
Like we talked
I mean,
about that
I think
earlier,
absolutely
right?
it does. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course it does.
I would think, yeah, like especially I think a lot of religions believe there is something after you're dead. So maybe that part is similar in all of them. But I think what happens to you after you die and how you get there and why you go there is totally dependent on which religion you are a part of.
Yeah, and there's nothing explicitly entailed in pretty much any form of atheism regarding, what happens after you die. There's no exact tenets that say like, if you're a hard atheist, then you think. And so a lot of people end up having a lot of different answers on this. I think if you go about answering this question, what happens after you die, in a similar manner to the way that you answer the question, is this stuff true that this religion is telling me? I think you get to a place that just basically where you're like, well, probably nothing, but I guess I'm not totally sure. So could be some, but probably nothing, but maybe,
And I think that's frustrating for people because when you're in this in between space, like Neil brought up, like atoms are going to disperse, blah, blah, blah. I agree with that 120%. But there's always a part of it.
It's okay.
But there's a part of my brain. I think this is just a natural inclination of human experience that there's a little part of me that hopes there's something just because I like living and I don't want it to end. And I
but
think
is it living after that?
But like, I don't know what that is. Like, but there's a little thing that I like, a little tiny part of me wants, like, it's a fool's hope that there might be something after, but I don't believe there's anything after. But there's like this little tiny part of me, like there's a little tiny part of me that's just like, well, maybe some part of my experience and myself will carry on beyond my life, and I'll have some kind of awareness of it. And I think that's just a human nature thing. Even as an atheist where I don't believe in anything supernatural, there's just that little part of me that's just like, I hope there's something, but I don't want it to be like a heaven and hell scenario. I just I'm like, I want to see I want to see like my friend that passed away 5 years ago. It was like like my brother, like he was like my friend, but he was also like my brother from another mother, and I missed him desperately, and I would love to talk to him again. And I think there's that desire, in all of us.
Of
Totally. Yeah, there's like that natural desire to not be done and to not have it be over with, because we've only ever known consciousness. So the idea that one day our consciousness will cease to be is, one, scary, and two, our brains literally try to keep us from ever thinking about it because it kind of goes against survival instincts.
Right.
But I think
especially if that place that you're going to go to is supposedly like free of all the terrible crap that you deal with. Do you know how many times, and this is serious, y'all, this isn't a joke. Do you know how many times I stubbed my toe on my bed frame? And it's just because of the way that it's made. It's like the way that this one particular leg flares out. And so for some reason, every single time, like I hit it and it hurts and it's frustrating. So imagine just living in a world where everything else is exactly the same, but you never stub your toe.
Yeah,
like that is infinitely better. So much better than this world.
Get a new bed frame. Too.
You know what, Stacey? Calm down now with all of that. That's I don't know. That sounds like a fallacy to me.
Well, on that note, does anybody have any upcoming live streams they want to promote or shows that they're going live or recording?
Can I shout the Recovering from Religion fundraiser that we have going on right now? So,
it's actually linked in the description too.
Please go to the doobly-doo.
The
go into
doobly
the link.
doo.
Recovering from Religion is having a fundraiser that you can
I'll be in it.
donate to.
Me
yeah,
too.
Neil's, yeah. And then also
I'll have to
too,
make my
we
little
are
video,
but the Jimmy Snow from the line has offered to do this I am the front of the fundraising team, but I don't have to do anything now because Jimmy was like, I will do the work. And I was like, awesome. So June 24th,
Wow.
we're going to have a 5-hour live stream online. And he's going to have like Matt Dillahunty, Seth Andrews, some
Everyone's gonna be
David
there.
Warnock,
Aaron
some
Ra.
really wonderful. Neil's going to be involved. Everybody's involved. So please do the thing and donate the money. Go watch the live stream.
And when is that?
That is June 24th at 3 p.m. Central. So it's going to be a 5-hour event.
Nice.
And the link is live now.
Yeah, the link is live now. You do not have to wait till June 24th. You can donate now because we like money. So
The goal is
I also-
25,000, right?
25,000.
Yeah.
And our goal is to raise 10,000 between now and the live stream, and then do the other 15,000. So please consider donating. Like instead of buying a latte at Starbucks, like give $5 to Recovering from Religion in our fundraiser. That'd be great.
Yeah.
So so I just really want to plug it because it means a lot for us.
Yeah, I always have
Awesome.
them in my show too, linked to that and
Sounds
all
like
their affiliates as well.
Yeah, yeah.
Always.
Yeah,
in my,
please. If you need help, and you are listening to this and you are struggling with doubt and unbelief, please go to recoveringfromreligion.org and talk to one of our agents. If you're struggling with the fear of hell, you're struggling with the differences between religion, whatever it is, please go talk to our agents. And we have a huge resource page and everything like that. So please do the thing, because I've been a part of this organization for 2.5 years now, and it has been one of the most fulfilling experiences of my life. So please do the thing. Like,
subscribe to their YouTube. It's in the description box right now.
Yeah, we have a bunch of
of
talks on there. SR has a talk on there that will be uploaded hopefully soon.
Yeah. I have one too.
Yeah, I'm gonna have Sydney. I'm gonna have Sydney on the show. And and then I'll have Sydney connect the Zoom link into the show.
I always want Sydney on the show.
And Neil needs to be on. Neil, you have to be on the show. Like if any of you would like to be on the show, just contact me and I will invite you to do an RFRX talk.
It was a lot of. It was a really great.
Yeah.
It was amazing. Yeah. Yes. Go
Quick
Neil, go.
thing, Mikey said to check toward DMs. I just did, Mikey. I would love to do an after show, but I already because I knew I was going to be on Sydney's show that would take us up to the time I normally go live. I didn't plan anything to be on live, as I already made dinner plans, so I'm going to be heading out.
Well, Marty asked for an after show too. There's interest in an after show. I don't know if anyone can host it.
Do it on his channel.
We're all just going to Mikey's channel.
I couldn't do it right away. We could do like an after dark or something on In Time. We could
Mikey can do it on my channel.
Oh yeah,
he's got the ability to do it. Right?
Do it, Mikey.
Unfortunately, I
Peer
won't
pressure.
be involved.
We know it works. Peer pressure. We've gotten proof. Peer pressure.
We are
Sydney
literally
started a live
pressure
stream.
works.
Oh, thank you, Mikey.
Yeah.
However, I do want to say one thing real quick before, because you said anything coming up on the channel. I don't have anything for this coming Tuesday or Thursday yet. I'm looking for people to come on the show and share their stories. If you have a deconversion story of any kind, it doesn't have to be from religion. It could be from the wonderful world of pseudoscience, like the woo-woo shit like crystal healing and stuff that you no longer believe. That's great. Come on. If you used to be an ex-white supremacist, great. Come on. I want to hear how you found your way free of those harmful beliefs. And I need someone for Tuesday and the 25th on Thursday. I have somebody on the 27th.
For that, but you need to remind me. I just
okay.
How do they get in touch with you, Neil?
They can email me at 604atheist@gmail.com. Or if you're on Twitter, you can find me there at 604atheist and then send me a DM.
Neil, you also have a Discord.
That I never go on. So
I know, but I'm just saying somebody might want to contact you.
That's probably where all of your requests are right now. They're just like on your Discord.
Hundreds of people. super upset.
I've been in Discord like twice in the past while, but it's because it's the only way I could talk to one of the guests I had on recently. So Discord, I can't get in.
You
it.
can't.
I don't know why.
You don't have like. I'm on Discord a lot because the ACA Discord is there, and
Yep,
I'm also on a couple other Discords in there. I just happen to be there because I wouldn't be do all this shit if I wasn't for the Discord. So, but we love you, Neil, and you should just find Neil on the You'll find him. He's on the interwebs.
He's everywhere.
I'm there. Just
And
type
then-
in my name and everything pops up. So
Literally though. Very unique name. Very unic. Are you a junior? Was
Is
604 your father?
your area code?
It's our area
Well,
code.
604, my father.
That's what I'm genuinely curious. Like I didn't
Well,
ask you this
604 is my
question
father.
before.
Call me Neil. And then
What does the
Stacey, you had
604
something-
mean? Is that what you want to know?
No, is that
Oh,
no?
I was
Is
just
it,
making
is
a
it
joke.
your area code for where you are in Canada?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I
It's our
thought. Because
area
like
code.
603 is New Hampshire, so that's why I was asking.
Yeah, we're nowhere near New Hampshire.
Nick, are
No,
you
I
on
wasn't the
are you on a
604th
613 area
atheist
code?
ever.
You're
No.
just the 604th one
What's
named
your area
Neil, so
code?
you had
Nick,
to.
what's your area code?
Mine is
I can tell
presumably
you.
508. So here's
Oh, you're on
no, you can
508. Okay.
Well, yeah, Neil can tell, but Neil, here's the thing. I lived in California for a while. I got my cell phone in California, moved back to Massachusetts,
Oh,
and when
okay,
I
that actually
did,
makes sense.
I kept the California number, and the reason why is
Oh.
I know immediately if it's a if it's the California area code, I know not to pick up because I don't have any friends in California anymore. If it's the local 508 area code, then I know I
Yeah,
can pick
smart
it up.
to you.
So I
Wait.
don't have any like spam calls anymore because I just don't
Oh,
pick up.
my
I
thing
block
is like,
California.
I'm like, tell me your area code so I don't go be like, who's this sus motherfucker that's like calling me?
Quick shout out from the comments. Arch Radish is here. If you guys haven't had him on your show yet, he's so funny. He's cool.
He's
and before the show started, I was telling about how like everybody sent me the trailer to a documentary that's coming out. He's in it. Everybody sent me the link to this documentary. He's the first person in the trailer.
I was
super
linked to
proud
that.
of him.
I was looking
Yeah.
at that. Now you're gonna have to send me the link and we're gonna have a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
we
Oh,
should
you
have
see
like an
my-
IBLP watch party. But
Yeah,
if you
yeah.
haven't had Arch
So-
Radish, I highly recommend it.
Yeah, my email's
Neil?
in the chat there, Arch Radish, and if you have a deconversion,
He's
story,
great.
then
Have
come
him
Oh,
on.
really?
Then
Yeah.
come
Yeah,
I
on.
thought you'd had him.
Go
Come
on
on,
his show,
send me an email.
Arch.
Yeah, seriously.
Yes.
Yeah.
100%.
Yep, and he's going to be going live. I believe next week. It might be the week after. Don't panic, Arch Radish, if it's not next week. He's going to be going live again on my channel soon too. Hilarious dude. Have him on. Great story.
Awesome.
Great,
Awesome.
fantastic. He's perfect. I think
like
Neil
fun.
for your podcast. So
Yeah.
I can send him your email afterward too, for sure.
That.
And then
Yay.
Stacey, you have something
Mike is going to throw an
to
after party.
promote as well.
Yeah. Yes, my new channel with my mom. Yay. The Stacey's Mom podcast. Woohoo. Yeah.
Oh, I
and
got Let me know when that runs for the first episode because I want
Oh,
to be there
it
to mock
did.
the crap
It's
out
out.
of you.
it did. It
It's
did.
out.
Oh, what?
It did.
Mhm.
Yes.
Mhm.
Subscribe.
It's live.
Don't mock the crap.
We're making fun of you because we love you.
I know. That's true. Oh, that's true. Yes,
That's
I love
right.
you
That's
too.
right. That's right.
Yeah, so that
Yeah, we
I'm
love
very
you.
excited about. And actually, I almost like fell over because before I came on, the line made a post on their community tab. Did you see that, SR?
Yeah, it was awesome.
Oh my gosh.
great.
I just was like,
It was great.
I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that. So yeah, the line made a post about it and just how Jimmy believes in us and what
Oh,
we're doing.
and
So he's awesome.
If you want to
and
give
they talked
Jimmy
about
praise, tell him fuck you. You don't say I love you. Tell
Yeah.
him fuck you.
I
If you want to
know.
give Jimmy
Yeah.
praise.
Yeah, but
They also
So-
talked about your podcast
yeah.
the other day on
Yeah.
Deep Drinks as well, about like,
Yeah,
how good of an
yeah.
idea that is. Yeah.
yeah, he's been phenomenal just with helping. So so that's started. And another thing I actually just thought of, which is pinned on the top of my Facebook profile page. My Facebook is Stacie, Stacie Grawn, Grahn.
Well, now I'm going to go be friends with you.
Sure, go for it. And you can. I signed up to do the walk for ALS for
Oh,
in Dave.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Awesome.
I'm raising. I have just a small goal, but I'm doing it for Dave. So if anyone wants to support me in that, I would love,
Awesome.
love to do that. It's next month here in my little town of Vernon. So, yeah, that's about it for now.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Great. Awesome. Well, guys, thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate it.
This was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was.
Do it again.
Thanks.
I'll be
If you
back.
had fun.
I'll be back.
Yeah, I was
Like,
gonna say,
invite
if you
me
had
and I'll come
fun,
back.
yeah, I will send you guys the link every time if you can make it.
Yeah.
I would love to have you back. If you can't, I'll still send you the link whether you want it or not because we're friends now, and I'm just gonna make it happen. But yeah, you're always invited. I'll include Mikey next time too. And yeah, I plan on doing these at least once a month, and if people really like them, I might do them more often than that. But you're always invited, and you can just hop in even if you don't tell me you're coming beforehand. And then anybody watching, if you liked what you saw today, I have a podcast called Growing Up Fundie. It's available on all platforms. The episodes are released on Mondays and Thursdays, but we also do a lot of lives here on YouTube. And we donate a lot of the monetized proceeds to things like Science Saves. The next couple of episodes are going to go to I Am Dying Out Loud because he was a guest very recently, and so his episode's coming out. And then we also do a lot of random parrot rescue money because I literally can't. I don't have room for more parrots.
Yeah, get merch. Buy merch, y'all.
Yeah, the
Buy the
Budgement
merch.
Day merch. Because I have so many parrots, I literally can't get any more. But I like them, and I want to keep.
If you
sending
have
them food.
if you have tank tops, Sydney, I'll buy a tank top because I don't wear t-shirts.
I will send you a tank top. Send me your address.
All right. I will buy a tank top.
Yeah.
So, is that not a t-shirt you're wearing?
No, it's a romper, actually.
Actually, it's a romper. So we don't have rompers, but because of you, I'll add that.
Oh,
I don't wear
But,
t-shirts.
Yeah.
I know.
Other
I wear
than
tank
that,
tops.
though,
I live in Florida. I wear tank tops.
I'll send you a hoodie. Don't worry, you'll love it. It's
No,
great.
I do have a secular sexuality hoodie that I wear when it might get below like 75 in Florida.
It's freezing. But yeah, other than that, I had a really great time talking to you guys. Thanks for being here.
Yes, it
Thanks
was fun.
for people viewing and listening.
Yeah.
And apparently there's an after party. So go to
Over
that
on my channel, hosted by Mikey.
Yep.
Oh,
Thank you so
Mikey,
much,
you gotta
Sydney.
send it in the private, like,
We're
send
gonna
it
get
over, 'cause-
crazy.
Yeah, I don't know where to go.
Who knows what could happen?